Hey guys, I just wanted to show you how I trim a swim jig, brand new out of the package. This is a Dirty Jigs California jig. And a couple things I like to do on here. So out of the package, it's going to have that skirt on them. Now, all jigs are a little bit different. Some of them are going to have a little bit longer skirt than others, but they're usually right about this size where they go down below the bend of the hook by, I don't know, maybe half an inch or so. So what I like to do, and a lot of guys do this, I like to trim off a little bit on the bottom here. The reason for that is that when you go and you put your trailer on, it's not going to impede the action of that trailer, be it if it's a swim tail or some type of a crawdad trailer. So I like to take a little bit of that skirt off. Now you don't want to go too crazy on this because you don't want your skirt to be super, super short. I have trimmed some super short before and they actually ended up catching fish still. So it's not going to ruin your jig if you go a little short on it. But my recommendation, I would go to about where the bottom of that bend is in your hook there, and then kind of trim some of that off. So let me go ahead and get that started here. Let's try to trim it nice and even. Can always take more off if it's too short, or I'm sorry, too long. Don't go too short because you can't add any on. All right, so we've got that just about there to the bottom. All right, so that looks pretty good there. Doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but try to get everything even there so it looks good and so you don't have any of those little skirt pieces dangling down and messing with the action on your trailer. Now, the second thing I like to do, this is going to vary a bit based on the place you fish. If you're coming through a lot of nasty woods or something, you might want to leave this thing a little bit longer. But using a swim jig like I do, I don't really come through much. It's mainly more open water and taking it around structure. So what I do, I like to trim that weed guard down. I trim it to right about where the hook point meets the weed guard, if that makes sense. So kind of like that, you can see where I'm going to trim that right about there. All right, get that trimmed up. All right, so you can see that. I've got that right about to where it meets the hook point now. And that's pretty much all I do on it. So I trim the weed guard back a little bit. I trim that skirt just to about where the hook bends. And that might vary a little bit also based on the trailer you're going to put on it. Some you might need to do a little bit more or maybe a little bit less if you have a little bit longer trailer. So that works really good if you're dealing with like the 3.5 inch type trailers. I like to use those a lot for the cross. So anyways, hope that helps you guys out with your swim jigs. If you haven't learned how to fish these, 100% worth doing it. Fun little lures to use. All right, take care, guys.